Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and we're just plain living here.
Good morning, I'm Peggy Burton,
And I'm Jim Fuller.
and we're here at last.
At last.
That beautiful week, partially, but yesterday, did you get a hail?
Hail.
Hail? No, I didn't get any hail. Did you get any hail?
You did not?
I did not.
At my house, it was white.
Really?
It was amazing. It was like coming off the edges of the house and making piles. There was all kind of hail.
You was raising hail
I
out
was
there at your
raising
house.
hail.
Yeah, she was.
Hell yes.
Hail, yeah. That's be an AI hail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was interesting.
It was. Have you gone mad?
A bit.
March Madness
It's
with March
March
Madness.
March
Yeah.
Madness, that's what it is. Doesn't take long.
Tennessee has advanced to
It's
the
just-
Sweet 16, and who would have thought? Because it's been a rough go these first two games.
It's been a rough go for all of them.
Yeah.
Duke only won by 1 point over
unbelievable.
UCF.
At this
and
point, they're playing much lower seeds in this.
doesn't make any difference.
But no, they're all
There's
good.
talent all over this
Yeah.
country. These small schools are full of talent.
Which
Yeah.
is interesting, yeah.
Well, there's not the high school athletics programs and the facilities that are available for kids now and the scientific knowledge. There's so many talented young kids. The prime schools can't take all of them.
Right.
And they're going to go somewhere and
They
play
gotta
ball.
go somewhere and play.
And you watch the NFL games, you watch the basketball, the baseball games, and you'll see where a lot of these kids come from, and they come from small schools. Because if they're a good player, these scouts are going to find
They're
them.
going to find them
They
wherever
don't
they
have
are.
to be at
I find
Alabama
it
or
amazing.
Auburn or.
I find it amazing that you'll get linemen in college now coming in as freshmen, and they weigh 300 pounds, and they're not
yeah.
fat. These guys
Just
are
hard muscle.
unbelievable. We
Well,
never,
and the number one lineman in the NFL this past year was a rookie
yeah.
who came in and took over a job in the NFL and became the number one lineman in the NFL
Yeah.
as a 20-year-old.
Isn't that
Yeah,
something?
unbelievable.
Yeah, so I mean they're ready to play.
Yeah,
And it's been interesting
I don't
because a
think
lot
we
of
ever-
these big teams are getting beat.
yeah, they are. We didn't used to see kids weigh 300 pounds when we were in school.
No, we had the biggest line when I was in school. I played my last year of football was 1966. We had the biggest line in the CTC, and it averaged 193 pounds.
Right.
That's not even the good size for a running back now.
Well,
Sounds like a big man to me.
if you remember when Phil Fulmer was in college, which was a long time ago, I mean, he was a great lineman, and Tennessee had some great linemen then. But they weighed about 225.
Yeah.
220,
They
225.
were huge.
I remember the year that I think Fulmer was still in school then. Oh, I know he was. But when Dewey Warren was quarterback, if you remember Dewey Warren.
I had a class with Dewey.
Did you?
Yeah.
And well, Dewey, I think.
I
he
don't think Dewey knew that it was a class. He just knew he was supposed to be there.
Right.
Dewey never brought any homework or anything like that.
But you know, Dewey weighed about 220. He was as big as the lineman
Oh, yeah.
in his team. So
He was as slow as a lineman, too.
he was pretty slow, but he could
He could
throw,
throw the
He could
football.
throw the
Did
football.
they have to keep their academics up then?
Well, you know, you taking up basket weaving and
You can get through college.
toenail trimming, you can get through college. Those guys that played ball got to stay in college. When their ball was ended, that doesn't necessarily mean they got to stay and finish.
Okay.
But as long as they were on the field,
Yeah.
they pretty well stayed in
They pretty
college.
well stayed.
Yeah. Yeah, when you can bring, I guess at that time, Tennessee private stadium probably seated, 60, 70,000?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. When you can fill that stadium up every week, it's important enough financially that you're probably
keep
going
you
to,
there. That's
know,
right.
it's in their best interest to keep you in school.
It's all about numbers.
Always,
Numbers and money, yeah.
always about numbers.
Yeah.
You know, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I went by the Art Center the other day. The National Watercolor Society show was here. It's just phenomenal.
I haven't seen
It's
it yet.
absolutely incredible that Tullahoma, Tennessee is one of 5 stops in the United States of America
For this exhibit.
for this
that's
exhibit.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
It goes to Chicago. I know one year it went to Chicago, Houston, Seattle, San Francisco, and Tullahoma.
In Tullahoma, Tennessee.
Not Nashville, not Atlanta. And when I was there the other day, there were carloads of people coming from. I met some people from Alabama. I met some people from the other side of Nashville. 6, 8 people in a
That's
car
wonderful.
coming to Tullahoma to see this, and it is. Some of them you can't tell whether they're a photograph or a painting.
Or a painting, and they're so
that
good.
good.
Yeah, right.
Just
I've seen some.
incredible. So if you have an opportunity to go by the Art Center, I think it might be there this week, or it might be gone.
I hope it's still
I think
there
it's there
because I want
through
to
the
see
end
it.
of the month.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. Go by. Go
yeah.
by. It's just, it's absolutely the best. 75 pieces of the best juried watercolor work in the United
world,
States of America.
And probably in
A lot
the world.
of it in the
yeah.
world, but I mean they don't accept stuff from outside
Right.
of the United States because it's the American.
We are very
watercolor
blessed in this community. Science Center, Arts Center, Civic Center. We have theater. We have good ball teams. We have smart kids in school. I mean, we're very blessed
Yeah.
in this region.
Yeah, we are. We are.
You know, I don't know if we mentioned that on this show, but this is Women's History Month. March is Women's History Month, and we've been running some pieces on the news about women who have done great
Done some good things.
Done some
Yeah,
good
there's-
things, and I'm sure we've got a lot in Tullahoma as well. That have done some good things.
Yes,
Peggy
we
being
do.
one of those.
There's one sitting right there in the audience.
Dot Watson is out here. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
She's a historical figure.
Yeah, she is.
We
She
all
is.
we all
In a lot
are.
of ways, we're all
Yeah.
historical figures. I saw a thing on the Today Show yesterday. They were interviewing, and this is funny how business has changed, and how the internet has changed business. And historically, business owners were male. They were very good. Bankers were male.
Yeah.
Everything was run by males, and it was very difficult for a woman who wanted to start a business
To start a business because nobody
Go
believed
get
she
the
could
money
do it.
and start a business.
And a good percentage of the time, she was probably running that man that was running the bank.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly
People
right.
just
Peggy.
didn't know that in those
You're
days.
exactly
Well, I mean,
right.
that's like Beatrix Potter couldn't get published because she was a
Yeah.
woman. She couldn't own sheep. She couldn't own a sheep farm because she was a woman. She ended up being one of the most prolific writers ever, and she owned the
couldn't own
Lake
a-
District.
and
She
couldn't
owned
own a
thousands
sheep?
of acres.
Oh my gosh.
She became the first woman to be a judge for the shearling type sheep that she raised. She ended up not only being a farmer and raising sheep, but she ended up at the top of the ladder in the judging business.
Isn't that something? Oh yeah.
So what I was getting to, they had a thing on there about this one woman, and she's a woman who's been successful, and she made her success helping other women find a way to open businesses.
way to open a
So
business,
it's women helping women, and it's all done online.
Right.
So like your Thumbtack and all of these Wayfair and a lot of these websites that are on. There's one woman opened a thing up called Peanut.
And what
And
has she done?
it's about women who have children and who have nobody to talk to, and so she has this place where they can all get together. One of them did one on women's health. Well, this woman said, why should a woman have to go talk to a man about women's health who doesn't know anything about breastfeeding,
Right.
doesn't know anything about
All that
periods,
stuff.
doesn't know anything about all the women's stuff, and have to explain to him
so that he can do the.
so he can give you the
yeah.
money to go into business.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just,
And so that whole dynamic of how businesses are being formed and where the cash flow is changed
Oh, big time.
exponentially in the last 10 or 15
Yeah.
years.
eventually, it will be whoever's best at the job needs to do the job, regardless of
Oh, yeah.
Well,
creed,
you know, I read-
color, whatever.
I read an article the other day about now there are more women graduating from law school than there are men.
That's an interesting.
Yeah, which I found very interesting, because that's for many, many
They're
years.
smarter than we are.
I know.
They're good at
You're
arguing.
right.
I mean,
Yeah, they are. They're really
They
good
can
at
argue.
arguing.
They can argue
Yeah.
a case.
Yeah.
They were in charge years. Hawaii. James and Michener's Hawaii. You want to hear a beautiful story, and I mean there was a queen there. There wasn't a king. There never had been a king. It was a matriarchal
yeah.
society until the Jesuits showed up.
Well, All the way back to
you know, a
Cleopatra.
lot of things, a lot of good things have been done in the name of the church, but a lot of bad things have been not in the name of the Lord, in the name of the church.
Right.
You know? So,
There's a big difference there. Isn't
Yeah,
there?
huge difference,
Yeah.
huge difference. But, and also I watched a movie, just while we're on this subject, I've been wanting to see Hidden Numbers, and it was about the black ladies who were at NASA,
Oh, yeah.
who did all the math.
That was an amazing.
And what an incredible
Movie.
movie about how these women were treated when they were the ones doing all the work.
And
Not
it
all
wasn't-
of it, but they
but
were. When Glenn was going up in space, he didn't trust the computer. He called for the
trusted
woman
them, yeah.
to give him the go numbers.
Yeah.
He said, that computer, I don't trust that computer.
Right.
That's when computers were first, IBM mainframes came
Yeah.
out. He said, I won't call her.
Right.
I want the number. She'll tell me whether I'm going into space or not.
Yeah.
Not that computer.
Yeah.
It was an incredible movie. So
I'm
watch
glad,
that if
I'm
you
glad
get a
they made that
chance.
movie.
My, how times have changed, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's relative to computers, though.
Oh, heavens, yes. Heavens, yes.
I
Everything's
know
that
everything
way.
is based on a technology and computers.
So we have in the group today, the chamber is here. They're having their distinguished Tullahoma's woman, distinguished woman there.
Are we getting that wrong? Hopefully.
Now, what is it? I can't. Women impacting the community.
Oh, that's right.
That
Yeah.
distinguished
Okay.
young women. That's it. That's another group of women. They're going to come in and talk to us about that. We have Nels is here with left to right poetry group, and Dot Watson's here with her, and they're going to talk about Nels. She has a book signing coming up.
Does she?
Yeah,
Good.
she's a poet, and we have some other poets that'll be in the room with us. And she is a haiku writer, and she has her book of haiku.
And you
is
have a
being
book of
published.
loco, and so-
I'm right. Because of Nels, my writing has changed, and she writes haiku, and I write loco.
Howard Smith is here too, by the way, and he's got his grandson has got a box.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, he's got a box of trains over there.
I know.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know, so
So today's offering, Loco 260. In front of the dam you created, you thirst. Pull your thumb from the dike. Drink from the waters you left behind, and be filled with life mist.
MISSED. Interesting. Yeah. Good job.
Well, you know, we usually build the bridges that keep us from doing the things we want to do. They're bridges we built ourselves.
Tear them
We
down.
put things behind us and lock them off, and you know, a lot of times that's where the fun is.
You're right.
Pull the thumb out
Pull the thumb out and go
and
for it.
go forward. Not
Jump in.
Let it all go forward.
There you go.
Don't leave anything behind.
absolutely.
There you go.
Good thought.
With all that said, we're going to be back after this commercial break with all kinds of great information, wonderful people, and a little bit of brilliance involved as well.
Ford F-Series has been the #1 selling truck for over 40 years. Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma has a huge selection and up to $10,000 off original MSRP. That's Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on Highway 55, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Why buy anywhere else?
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Can you imagine a world without beauty, without color, without creativity, without art? Well, neither can we. Keep arts alive and experience all kinds of arts and crafts at the 2nd Annual Arts Alive Tullahoma on the newly renovated lawn of the South Jackson Civic Center, May 25th and 26th. For details, visit TullahomaArtsCouncil.com and come spend the day at our fun, family-friendly arts festival.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're pleased to have joining some of us set now from the Tullahoma Chamber of Commerce. To my left is Hope Sarton, the Executive Director, and with her is James Fuller with Smart Bank in Tullahoma. And you guys are here today to talk about women impacting the community.
Yes, women impacting the community.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having us.
Always glad to have you guys here.
Well, we are really excited about the Women Impacting the Community luncheon that's going to take place on Tuesday, April 9th at Lakewood Golf and Country Club. And Smart Bank is our title sponsor again this year. And so we just appreciate their continued support of this wonderful event.
They seem to get involved in a lot of things, and I know that you keep James Fuller pretty busy over there doing a lot of things for the Chamber, which I know everybody benefits from.
Yes.
Women Impacting Our Community has been around for what? A few years now, I think.
This will be the 5th year.
5th year, okay.
Yes, very exciting.
You remember how that program got started?
Well, you know, that was before I started working with the Chamber. I just know that someone recognized that there are some amazing women in this community doing some amazing things.
There's got to be an abundance of opportunities to pick somebody for that.
And that they need to be recognized. And so we just, you know, we're honored we get to celebrate them. So.
How do you come up with the candidates and how are they ultimately chosen?
Well, I'm glad that you asked because it's up to the members of our community to nominate these amazing women. And, you know, it could be a friend, it could be a neighbor, it could be your Sunday school teacher, it could be your child's teacher. And so we really encourage people to think outside of the box for those unsung heroes. That don't really get the recognition. You know, your wife would be a great candidate for Women Impacting. She is very involved and a great asset to the Chamber.
Well, and you know, that's something that she really has a passion for, and I think she's having more fun than you might realize.
Oh, good.
Doing that. So if I were you, I'd bring her along slow because you probably got her hooked for a number of years here.
Okay.
Sometimes I think James Fuller likes doing that too because I see his picture in the paper a lot.
It's a great thing to be a part of the Chamber.
And I think in general, the Chamber is such a positive influence on our business community here that probably more people should get involved in it. But
I agree.
I'm sure you agree. I'm sure you agree. So once the people have been the nominees, I guess you would say, are chosen, who makes the final selection? How does that work?
Well, there is a committee, but we do not disclose the names of the committee.
I don't blame you.
It's an anonymous committee, but I do know that they have really, really tough decisions to make. And, you know, we do have 4 categories that you can nominate in. It's business, education, community service, and lifetime achievement. And so we are very excited. And, you know, Fran Gray was our Lifetime Achievement Award winner last year. And so.
That's just, when you get lifetime achievement, you're close to my age, you know. So, but that is quite an honor.
Yes.
And you mentioned education was one of the categories, and certainly that's got to be something extremely important to our community.
Well, definitely. And so, again, we just encourage you. You know, it could be a Sunday school teacher, it could be your child's teacher, it could be your favorite professor at Motlow. And so, you know, there have been so many different women awarded on various scales. So.
Are you still taking nominations this time?
Yes, we are definitely taking nominations.
So what does one do? Can anybody suggest somebody?
Anybody can make a nomination. All you have to do is visit our website, tullahoma.org. It's very, very, very easy. And if someone, you know, really wanted to make a nomination and they needed some help, I encourage them to call the Chamber and we can help to walk them through the process.
Oh, okay.
So,
but you guys make it really easy.
Oh, we make it as easy as possible.
James, do you make a nomination for this?
You do. You go to the website, like she said, and it's easy form to fill out. And you don't have, you know, a lot of people think that you just have to put this dissertation in there. You don't even have to do that. If it's just a quick, brief 2 or 3 sentences to tell why you think that person is qualified to be one of the recipients of these awards, then do that. And if the chamber needs more information, they can always reach out.
Do you get to personally get to make a nomination?
Yes, sir.
All
I can
right.
make a nomination. You can make a nomination.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. And the event is actually coming up on
Tuesday, April 9th.
April 9th.
At Lakewood
yeah.
Golf and Country Club.
Right.
It's going to start at noon, and so Smart Bank is our title sponsor again this year, and Woodard's Diamonds and Design is our awards sponsor again this year, and so we definitely appreciate Jim's continued support of this wonderful event. And then we have a new sponsor this year. Our dessert sponsor is the Cheesecakery, which is a new cheesecake business here in
I
town.
wasn't familiar with that.
Oh, it's
sounds
so
good.
So you'll
It
definitely
is.
have to get your tickets
Yeah,
to attend.
absolutely.
So there's going to be bite-sized samples of cheesecake all on the tables, and so we encourage people to get there early and save seats for their friends and pick your cheesecake.
Okay. All right. Hey, this sounds like a lot of fun. That's a noon event, or is
Yes,
it night?
it's a lunch event, and we try very hard to get everybody in and out within an hour. So
Yeah.
we understand and respect everyone has very busy schedules, and these women that are impacting our community got to get back to work.
You know, I was noticing on your annual membership banquet, it flowed really quick, and you didn't have to spend 6 hours at that event.
Well,
So
that's the goal. The goal
really
is to to get through the agenda without it feeling rushed, but still get everyone out at a decent time. And so, with it being on a Friday evening, we tried to not take up, because you've worked all day,
Right.
and so you're ready to get home, and so
Sure.
we don't want to lose our audience. So.
Okay, so keep in mind, anybody can make a nomination
Yes.
here. So all you got to do is go to the website.
That's right. Tullahoma.org.
Tullahoma.org. Okay, and James mentioned that it's so easy to do that if you got an idea, put it out there.
Yes.
That's right.
Let those people get recognized. James, a quick word to give you an excuse for taking off some time from your job to come down here. A quick word about Smart Bank. It appears they have moved into the community and jumped right in.
Yes, sir.
As
Yes,
being
sir.
a part of supporting
So those
events
that
here.
don't know, Smart Bank was formerly Southern Community Bank, and
Right.
thankfully Southern had the opportunity to sponsor this event last year. And so whenever I presented it to the Smart Bank personnel as far as an opportunity this year, thankfully they were willing to continue their support of this event. They've wanted to show their involvement in the community, and this is just another great way to do so. Can't think of a better event to recognize quality individuals, quality ladies that deserve this recognition.
Okay, outstanding. All right, so kind of give them a little help here. More people, I'm sure you'd like to have all the nominees you can get here, because there's a lot of outstanding women who impact our community here in Tullahoma, as we
Yes.
were talking a little bit earlier in
Yes.
the opening here. So you being one of those folks. So.
Oh, well, I'm just honored to be able to celebrate all these incredible women in our community, and so it's truly an honor to get to celebrate them.
Although I envy you for your job, because you do a great job, but I think you mainly plan parties and do fun things and stuff like that. I mean, who wouldn't like that job?
Oh, well, it's definitely takes a village. So we, Michael Reed, our marketing and communications coordinator, he is an incredible asset to the team, and he really does a great job of, getting the communications out. And then we have a great board and great ambassadors, and so it truly takes a village. So all these wonderful events, we need to make sure and give the committees the glory.
Trust me, I was kidding about that, because I ran the American Legion for a number of years. And it was a lounge and restaurant and banquet facility, and everybody told me I had the best job in the world because I was a professional partier. And but believe me, there are times when it's a lot of work to that kind of thing.
Yes.
Folks,
yes.
thank you so much for coming by today.
Thank you.
I always
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
James,
Yes,
nice
sir.
to see
Nice
you
to see you
again.
again.
Folks, we'll be right back in just a moment with more living right after this.
Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. Uh-oh. I just knocked a tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel that the paint works, where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them, and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the paint works at 1960 North Washington Street, and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here, and every now and then, I want you to really pay attention to this. Every now and then, something special happens. And today, there's this special young man who's come to see me, thanks to my sister-in-law, Candy Couch. And he's with his great-grandfather, a friend of mine for years, Mr. Howard Smith. And young man, introduce yourself to our audience out there. What is your name?
My name is Kyle Stanko. I'm someone who's loved trains for years.
So you're 11 years old?
I'm 11 years old.
11 years old. And this young man has been paying attention to trains, I guess, your whole life. I'm impressed with he's a savant in his knowledge. What got you involved in trains?
I guess you could say my grandfather, Chester Nelson, he's the one that got me started on trains. Whenever I was about 4 years old, 4, 3, something like that, he would let me play with his S-scale Chicago Northwestern number 282 steam locomotive. And ever since that, I just branched off. You know, I've loved trains ever since.
Loved trains ever since. You do you spend? I know you go down to Couch's a lot because Mr. Couch has trains down there. Of course, and it's right there at the train track. You can sit right there, and there's a caboose across the street, and the depot's right down from there. How did you learn all you've learned, and to be able to identify parts and pieces? And I mean, have you done a lot of reading?
I have a book called The Locomotives That Baldwin Built. I've read a lot out of that, and one of my favorite locomotives, the Union Pacific Big Boy, is actually in there. It wasn't built by Baldwin, it was actually built by Alco, but they included it to compare it to the Duluth-Mesaba Iron Range locomotive.
I'm lost, folks. I'm lost. But so you can sit down there by the Howard. He can sit down there at the railroad track and identify everything that comes down the road.
He can tell you just about every train that was ever built. Yeah.
Almost. I can't. I'm still trying to work on the names of the diesels, though. It's on Train Simulator. I play Train Simulator because it's Train Simulator.
Of course.
Of course. And I actually have the Sherman Hill route that's on Train Simulator, you know? And Sherman Hill is in the state of Wyoming. It's from Cheyenne to Laramie. That's the route. It's a course owned by the Union Pacific. And the big boy is, you know what? I'm about to just tell you everything about it and get you started on it. You think it'd be good?
Well, as long as we have time, we've got 4.5 minutes left, so it's all yours, brother.
Okay, so the big boy was built for hauling long freight trains up steep grades from Cheyenne to Laramie in the Union Pacific route. And surprisingly, it definitely exceeded its goal, and numbers 4,000 to 4,025 were built. A total of 25 were manufactured between the timelines of 1941 to 1944. The wheel configurations, you know how many wheels there were? Well, there were 4 in the front, 8, 8, and then 4 in the back. Whenever I say 8, 8, the 8, 8 are the driving wheels. And I can actually show you 8, 8 driving wheels if I see my model train real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my Lionel Southern Pacific number 4727. I haven't found this engine in real life, but I got it last Christmas, and thanks to my pa. And these driving wheels are 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's this wheel configuration is 0, 8, 0 because it's got 0 wheels leading the locomotive, 8 driving wheels under the boiler, and 0 trailing wheels under the cab and the firebox. So the big boy is basically twice the size of this engine, plus 4 in the front and 4 in the back.
My heavens. Well, you know, I was out west a couple of years ago, and it was amazing to me how vast, number one, how huge our country is. And you would think you were on a flat on the bottom somewhere, and all of a sudden you'd come over to the edge of and you'd look down for hundreds of miles. You can see hundreds and hundreds of miles. And all of a sudden, way down there, coming out from around a butte or something, would be a train. And it looked this big, you know. They were so far away, and you're thinking, where in the world is it going? But they're going all over our country, and they've done that for years and years and years. Now, you were talking about, I asked you, you already know what your life's work is going to be? And explain that to our audience. What's your life's work going to be?
Well, first I'm going to have to get a random job to start off with to make money. I've thought about it, and I think I'd carry off from what my pa used to do, fixing up houses and selling them first. And once I make enough money, then I'll try to move to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Of course, you rail fans out there know what I'm talking about. And once I move, I'm trying to, okay.
You want to be the guy who runs that place?
Well, not runs the
curator, the head of the museum down there?
Well, no, not runs the place, more like runs the steam engines. There's 2 steam engines. Well, actually, there's 4, but only 2 are operating. 4501 and 630 are in operating conditions right now because they've been operating for years.
Right.
And number 610, I found out on YouTube, used to run, but I asked them what happened to it and why it's in shop right now. They said in the winter, whenever the water got cold, it expanded in the water pump and it popped apart on it, so they've got to
fix the pump. All right, now, are those are the engines that pull the Autumn Leaf Special? I know I've been on the Autumn Leaf Special that leaves Chattanooga and goes up to the northern border of the state and turns around and comes back.
4501 oftenly does that. Sometimes we'll do a double head, 630's behind it, 4501's in front of it, and we'll do an all-day run.
A double head. He knows every bit of the terminology, folks, of being involved with a railroad. Now, is there not somewhere, and I'm not pushing college, because I don't think everyone needs to go to college. I think there are people who need to go to college and there are people who need to go to work. But is there somewhere where you can go study? I mean, I know a friend of mine, Becky Buller, who's a bluegrass player, and has won several Grammys and won several IBMA awards, came from Minneapolis to East Tennessee State to study bluegrass music because you can get a degree in bluegrass music there. Is there somewhere in the country where you can go that has a curriculum about trains? Research that, because there might be.
Okay, I've been wondering if there's a school I can go to, and you definitely need to go to college to drive trains. That's definite.
That's definite. Well, young man, our time is up, and you're welcome to come back anytime. It's been my pleasure to meet you, to look in your bright eyes and experience what's in your bright mind. You're an exceptional young man, and I know you'll be successful no matter whatever you try to do. Howard, thanks for bringing him in, buddy, and it's good to see you as always.
Thanks for having me.
Keep us informed about what's going on with him, and you'll be welcome to come back anytime you'd like, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Folks, how much better can you get than that? Maybe you can. We'll be right back.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
Tullahoma Earth Day Festival. Let's start a chain reaction that creates action. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Join us for the second annual Earth Day Festival on Saturday, April 27th, starting at 1 p.m. at Fraser McEwen Park. Enjoy an evening of music, a night in Nashville with Lee Gibson and Company. This free event has over 30 earth-friendly vendors, kids' activities, food, beer, and more. Special thanks to our sponsors. That's Tullahoma's Earth Day Festival on Saturday, April 27th at 1 p.m.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello, everyone. John Rigmond here for segment 100. Pat Welch here, the segment 100, our closing segment. We hope not for maybe forever. Did you forget to bring the balloons? We were going to let some go. Huh. Yeah, they're not up there, John, so they hadn't been pre-released. Yeah. Oh, man. What are we going to close at? Well, Johnny Cash. Hugely successful. This is a Johnny Cash song. All right. You know, I started off doing, in the first segments, the ones that mostly I wrote, and once we got through the ones that I felt comfortable doing, then I started doing songs that I remember from my youth. And this was one that Johnny did. Love is a burning thing that makes a fire ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. this ring of fire, this ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child. Oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, burns, burns. This ring of fire, this ring of fire, this ring of fire. What a way to close her out. You know, I think we got more applause that time than we normally do.
Anytime you do something 100 times, they're going to be wild about it now.
I don't know. I don't know, John. June Carter wrote that? Wow. Now, I'll tell you a little story about that. You're so all-knowing, John. You know so darn much.
That brings us back to segment 5 when I was accused of, in a piece of frustration, by Mr. Rickman said,
I'm kidding
you think
about
you know
that.
everything.
I'm kidding about that. I didn't know June wrote that, but Johnny Cash had a hit on that song, and he was to play on the Opry, and he was wanting to bring trumpets in when the instrumentation comes, and the Opry didn't want him to do that. I don't know if whatever resolved. Maybe it didn't come. Maybe it didn't perform on the Opry. But I know that they wanted to keep traditional sound, which trumpets had never been a part of the Grand Ole
See, John, that's a perfect example of how we've lasted to 100. Management chips in something that we don't know about, and you can expound on it.
You know, for the most part, management has sat back and sort of let us have it. Now on this 100th, he feels like he can sort of
inch his way in
and take part of this conversation. We'll be having a chair right here next time.
I'm sorry.
I thought
John, we appreciate you. We appreciate you allowing us to be on here.
Yeah.
We got a good topic.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
We got good topics.
What is it, John?
I can't remember.
Throw a picture up there, Philip, and we'll just start from there. Here we go.
Who is that, Pat?
Well, the center coach is Coach Bobby Morton. The gentleman to his left is Jack Jolly. And those two would be about the same age. And a little bit older is the gentleman on the right was Tommy Whitaker. And he had coached with a long time with Coach Cooper. Coach Cooper retired after the 1966 football season. And to be honest, I don't know how many people remember this, but Coach Morton was not, he was hired, I believe, as an assistant. Coach Morton and Coach Jolly were originally from Murfreesboro. And the person that was hired was from Upper East Tennessee named Rex Dockery, and he had played at, I believe he was originally from Cleveland.
Wasn't he a UT boy?
Uh-huh. He originally was from Cleveland and played with Steve Sloan, who went to Alabama, and then you're right, John, he went to UT. But he was young and extremely aggressive, and he was hired, I think, on like a Wednesday or Thursday, and he met with the team on Friday. That was at the high school. He drove back to the administration building and told the superintendent of schools, he said, they can't win. And the problem was that they were real young. It was a really sophomore-laden team. And so they had to, they were out of time. Practice was about to start, so Coach Morton was
Hit
hired.
the road, Jack.
Yeah. So,
don't you come back.
Yeah. And he ended up, he went to either Marshtown or West or East, and 2 years later was one of the first state champions as the TWA started state playoffs. And from there, he went and got into college coaching, and he became the head coach at Memphis. And he was in a small plane recruiting on the way to Lawrenceburg. Lawrenceburg used to have a really big quarterback club, and they honored state honors, and sometimes they'd recognize somebody from the South, you know. And he was recognized as the coach of the year because he got Memphis from nowhere to a pretty decent team. And he died in that. There was a plane. He died in a plane crash there. Yeah.
Coach Jolly, by the way, he was a baseball coach.
Baseball coach when Also, when he left, they both left about the same time when Murfreesboro Central split. Coach Morton left to become the head coach at Oakland, and Coach Jolly went with him and was the baseball coach at Oakland, and he did a great job there, and the field now is named after him.
Coach Jolly on the other side was Tommy Whitaker, and he was the girls' basketball coach.
Right.
When they played 3-on-3, and we did a segment about that one time.
And he had several really good teams. Throw another picture up there, Philip. That's the bottom picture there on the right with the glasses is Coach Morton, and to our left, to his right, is Tommy Whitaker, and then the next one over is Sleepy McKenzie. We've mentioned him several times in here before. Much younger than I think some people might remember him at. This would have been in the football season of '69.
They were being invited
to the Lions Bowl, which the Lions Bowl now is named after Sleepy, him and Frank Sims. So that was a big picture, because in 3 years they had gone from not very good to at least bowl eligible, which at the time you had to win at least 7 games.
And bowls were set up individually by communities.
Right.
Invited the Butter Bowl. Remember the old Butter Bowl?
The Butter Bowl was
Tobacco Bowl in
Hartsville.
Hartsville.
That at times was really the state championship. Hartsville would try to get the 2 best teams in the state by the state rankings, and those they slowly were faded away as more and more teams were added to the state playoff system, and you couldn't find somebody with
Dover.
Huh.
I think it was Dover, Ashland City.
I think Lawrenceburg's bowl was the Crockett Bowl.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All right. And here is Coach Cooper ran a single wing, which General Nail and UT did, and we've had several segments about that.
Let me tell you how I got this picture. I was up at Walmart one day, and Stan Lindsay, there standing to the left, was having these remade or whatever, and I got my flip phone camera out real quick and made a copy of this. And so Stan was going to give a picture to Paul, who is to the right of him. Go ahead.
Well, this is the first backfield picture, or first backfield in Tullahoma history, that would have not have been a single wing backfield, and it'd be the first time you had a quarterback sitting directly behind the center, and that quarterback 12, which would be to the left, is Stan Lindsay, and he's got plenty of hair, and he and I both wished we still had the same amount we had in high school. The one behind him, 32, is a fullback. That's Paul Cooley, who worked for the school system and special ed for a long time. And
I think Paul's lacking for hair, too.
He is now. Yeah, he looks pretty dignified himself. He was a sophomore and ended up being a great player, and got a scholarship to Austin Peay and played there. Behind him is Dave Penzola, who was a basketball player too. He was a really good athlete. And then the wingback to the right is Rick Moore, attorney in town, and he went on to that spring won the state hurdles championship, won Coach Cardin's first individual track champion. Why
were people moving away from the single wing, Pat?
Well, the passing game is easier from a quarterback spot, and Tennessee particularly started losing players like Steve Sloan that we mentioned. Steve Spurrier was another one that they were close to. Steve Sloan was from from Cleveland, and Steve Spurrier was from Johnson City, and they both left so that they could be quarterbacks. And
single wing just didn't give them the opportunity to display.
To throw.
It was a tailback-oriented
very tailback-oriented
offense, and the quarterback would take the ball many times, turn, pitch to the halfback, and then
and the quarterback was lined up sideways. Management, Mr. Gray was what they call a blocking back. Some people call it quarterback, but it was really just a glorified pulling guard, basically.
Pretty dadgum good offense, though.
Right, it was.
You know?
Yeah. And when Coach Cooper had good players, they won plenty of games with it. And when Coach Nalen had plenty of good players, they had plenty. But it became, people thought it was old and time to change, and Knoxville changed.
I always think about, like in track, you have the Western roll, where people used to go over the front, over the bar, and then later on, they did the Fosbury flop, and over on the back side, going over with their back. And there it became standard to do the Fosbury.
Right,
The flop.
right. And that change would have been during Coach Cooper or Coach Carden's time at the high school.
Go to that next picture.
All right, now we're moving on in time in this portion right here.
About 20-something years later.
This would have been in '87, and the '87 team. I wish we'd had time to talk more about it in the individual segment, but they're really the best team probably that Tullahoma's had, in that they made it to the semifinals of the state playoffs. In the last four, they were beaten by Jefferson County in the semis at Jefferson County, and a tremendous crowd from Tullahoma went over there. And Tullahoma had Maurice Shaw was a senior that year, and he gained 2,900 yards and broke Frank Mullins' all-time rushing record. And there were two juniors on that team that played in the NFL. Antonio London and Steve Matthews. Jefferson County had a linebacker named Todd Collins that played for the Patriots. So one high school game had three future NFL players in it at the same time. I don't know if you'd be hard-pressed to find another game that had that kind of talent. But I thought something that's neat to kind of point out today. That team was coached by Joe Gaddis, who left after that year to go to Oak Ridge. And but a great example, I think, if somebody wants to play high school football and he makes up his mind early enough and works hard enough, he can, just about anybody can participate. The kicker is Greg Alexander there, and Greg had a genetic eye disease that by this time he's legally blind. And I've talked to him, and he said that it was like looking at that time in his life, it was like looking through a donut. He could see things at a distance through the middle, but there was a circle around the middle that was kind of hazy and kind of dark. And once if he got him lined up with the goalpost, he could see through the middle of the donut. He could see the goalpost, but the surrounding stuff he could not see. Put that back up one more time, Philip. We got to talk about one more man. The holder is my buddy Darrell Welch, spelled with a C, bless his heart. And he would have gone to high school at about 100 pounds, and he was Joe Gaddis' manager. And finally, Darrell begged him to let him play, and he said when he first got his equipment for the first time in spring or whenever he was going to let him play, he said he thought his equipment weighed more than he did. But he became the holder, and he was the holder for all the extra points and field goals. And Greg, Coach Gaddis, there was a Kaywood. Mike Kaywood was the kicker that you knew was close to Tom. It was his son. He was a normal kicker, but when they had a good lead, and in that game, that was a homecoming game against Lawrenceburg. I think they were 47. I think it's 47-7 at the time, and that'd be a time when he let Greg kick about 7 or 8 extra points during the year. And I think that's a great story. That two people that can participate. And we can finish it with one other thing on Darrell.
Go ahead, Pat.
This is a great story.
This is a good one to end on. Darrell Welch and the Alexander boys done well.
Oh, yeah.
In their adult years.
Yeah.
We're proud of them.
Yeah, very similar to you and I, John. But where was I?
I can't remember. You were going to say something about, are we going to have to end it because you can't remember?
No, we're going to hang in there till we finally remember. We're talking about Darrell and doing something. And, oh, here we go. They played Lincoln County, which traditionally was really strong back in the 70s and 80s, and this was in 87. But we were beating the fool out of them one night, and Coach Gaddis said, Darrell, on this extra point, I'm going to send you and Greg in. And he said, no, I tell you what, it may have been a field goal that was going to be close. And won't give Greg a shot at this, and we're going to use a backup snapper. And said, if the snap is anything off, he said, you pick it up and run out to the side and try to get out of the way. And Lincoln County had an outside linebacker who was ferocious, that was all world at the time. And sure enough, Darrell says the ball came rolling back. It didn't snap back, it rolled back. He picked it up. Poor Greg can't see him, so he swings through like Charlie Brown, about to kill himself. And Darrell picked up and went out to the side, and he got it almost to the sideline. And that good player popped him. And all 126 pounds went airborne. He said he landed in the first lane of the track and ended in the 6th lane. And when he came back, he said that people on our sidelines were really tore up about it, that you know, our buddy, the little guy, is getting beat up. So they ran out there and they almost had a fight. And Daryl said he was about to hit this all-world guy, and he looked up. All he could think of was, he's going to hurt me, and my dad's going to be so upset. So they got order restored, and Daryl it wasn't necessary to put all his 125 pounds into a battle against a 220 man.
Great story.
Yeah. The landing on the first lane and ending in the sixth was pretty a good description of what that was like that night. John, we finished up segment 100. And we started off being great friends, and this has made us even stronger.
That's right.
We've had a great time. Management has blessed us to let us on here. If there's enough applause following this, we may have an encore. But we want to announce to everybody that we're looking for sponsors. We are going to have a marathon. Management has announced that he will let a marathon happen, 1 through 100, all at one time lined up. It's going to make Andy Griffith marathons look pale. I'm excited about it, John.
All right.
So that ends it. We're at 100, maybe an encore if applause is heavy enough. Thank you all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Ford of Winchester. Check out the 2018 Ford Expedition, up to $11,000 off original MSRP. That's Russell Barnett Ford on 41 and Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party. But things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her. And now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
There's something sweet and almost kind, but he was mean and he was coarse and unrefined. But now he's dear and so unsure. I wonder why I didn't see it there before.
Like Miss Samantha Waters, no.
Terrell Waters.
Terrell Waters. Yeah, I'm always wanting to call her 2 to 3 different things. Beauty and the Beast. And you're back again, guys.
Back again.
I don't know how you're still standing. This show is selling tickets so fast, so I want to just tell you right off the bat that was Beauty you just watched sing the beautiful song. The tickets are selling so fast, if you don't get your name in the box, it's going to be too late. So, opens next week, a week from Friday.
Yes, ma'am, on Friday night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next weekend. 2 weekends we're running this year.
And did I hear that you'd already sold close to 900 tickets?
Yes, they have gone fast. We do have a tea also for the children the first Saturday.
That's the 6th.
Correct.
The first
6th.
Saturday
and
of
it starts
the
at what time?
11 o'clock and goes to 12:30.
And what was the price on that? Is there a price?
Yes, $15.
$15, and you get to come and have tea with beauty, and I
Some
think a lot
characters,
of,
yeah.
of characters, and oh my gosh, I've seen all the costumes, and they are fabulous. We're going to show a few after a while, but let's talk business for a little bit. If you buy your tickets now, they're how much?
They are $18 if you buy in advance. That gives you a $2 discount if you buy them at the door, which I do not know that there will be tickets left at the door. We have sold a lot. Most of the center section is gone for every day. So if you want to buy tickets, you need to go online at southjackson.org or call the office and get your tickets now.
And I love having my tickets ahead of time so you don't have to stand in line.
Exactly.
Because I know there will be some people who will wait till the last minute. But, oh my goodness, this is an opportunity of a lifetime to see this beautiful production. Your orchestra. You've got it all.
Yeah, we have a live orchestra. We have the full cast, and we knew that taking on this show would be quite a task in itself.
And it has been.
And it has been, and it's been awesome. And some of the best group that I've probably ever worked with.
Well, I think it comes from years of training. They're getting better all the time, and you do have a fabulous cast. You had twice as many as you needed audition.
Right.
Oh, and that tells you something.
Yeah.
That I just think Middle Tennessee and this region is hungry for theater, and I'm so proud of what we've been able to do. I know we want to make sure we see a little bit of our characters.
Yes.
So now might be a good time for us to take a look at our characters if they're ready. Well,
yes.
There we go. Oh. Tell me who we've got there, Greg.
We have Gaston, of course, and his nice posing.
With his great muscles.
And then we have Belle, and then we have the Beast.
The Beast, I'm crazy about those fingernails. And I wanted to compliment you, Cynthia. By the way, this is Greg and Cynthia. They're directing. Cynthia did that makeup this morning. What time did you get up to do that?
We got there at 5 this morning. I'm actually not helping direct this one. Greg and Melissa Sharan are doing this one. I'm just doing the marketing part of it.
You're doing the marketing and some costuming.
And just costuming and makeup.
And makeup. The makeup is fabulous. And
we started a little early this morning.
And some of the other costumes are so huge. You have a wardrobe. You have a teapot. We
have the clock.
The clock.
Oh,
and we have the Lumiere, the candlestick.
There's just all kinds of beautiful costumes, and I imagine Ann Wonder did a little bit of costuming.
She's been working with us on costumes, yes. And Catherine Hopkins just working diligently, and then we actually have a lot of other people helping to make and create, because there's a lot of items, a lot of humans that become inanimate items throughout this production.
And then there's props. People just don't have a clue how hard this is. Yes, and the sound man and the light man and everything that goes on behind the scene. The set, I'm dying to see, but I'm not going to let myself walk in there until I go the day I have my tickets. I want to just be surprised. I think we could say you have a few spaces for sponsors?
We do. We actually have a few ads that we are putting in the program. We've got limited space, but if a business would like to put their business ad in the program, please call the office at 455-5321, and you can ask for Renee or Cynthia, and we will be glad to give you information on that for you.
And just to get a chance to see that Beast on stage.
Yes.
And I think there's a great voice that comes out of him.
I believe there's one in there.
There is.
Inside that horrible mask is a fabulous human being that becomes very special. All right, so don't forget you can buy a sponsorship, but you need to get your tickets early, I think, because otherwise you're going to be caught in a deluge of people everywhere. So how long have y'all been working on this?
We started, auditions were in December when we had a record number of turnout for auditions, and we began rehearsals with music and stuff in January. So we've been working since January.
I want to urge people to understand, and I know they do, how important a fabulous organization that produces musical things and comical things and this type of theater, how important that is to our community.
Yes.
We're very blessed, not only with your direction and your ability to crawl out of bed at such an hour and work day and night. And I know you're on your way to New York and not very long.
Less than 24 hours.
Less than 24 hours with the THS Aristocats, and people just never stop giving. How many people actually are in the play?
It's 64.
64? Right.
It's actually more about like 58, 57, 58
that actually
in the production
that
are on stage at some point.
And not counting how many in the backstage and the orchestra and crew is just.
And what parent hasn't got children, especially little girls, that are just dying to see a princess and a beautiful beauty and some of the people around her, and Gaston with his masculinity there, looking like the stud of the century, and the beast, there he is. What a great group.
And if their kids want to dress up to come to the show,
what a cool idea.
They're totally
Yes,
encouraged to do so. There will be a lot of kids dressed up, guys and girls.
Great. How about the tea? Are they dressing for the tea?
Yes, that is optional. It's not necessary, but they can.
And I just think that's such a sweet thing to do, to give the children a chance to. Do you have an age limit on the tea?
4 and over.
4 and over, so you can be my age and come to the tea.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
What a cool thing.
Mrs. Potts will be glad to serve you tea.
Mrs. Potts will serve tea. That is fabulous. Well, folks, get your tickets. Call this number. Go online. Get your tickets printed out. Anything else we need to say that is important right now?
Tell people who maybe don't know that's been under a rock somewhere that we've got Beauty and the Beast at South Jackson.
Civic Center, and if you're not watching this in this region, this is Tullahoma, Tennessee. You can't miss it. You're coming on Highway 55, you're going to pass South Jackson Civic Center on the left if you're coming that way. But anyway.
And you have the information on the bottom of the screen.
Right.
They can get tickets there.
You can get tickets there. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for all this.
Oh, thank you.
And getting out of bed and coming and sharing some of this fabulous work. We'll be back.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No Employee of the Month bonus check here. This guy, no. This warrior will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, last week we were fortunate enough here in Tullahoma. So many wonderful things happen in Tullahoma. It's just amazing. The Navy Band was here and performed at Tullahoma High School, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. Now, they are very, very talented. They're recruited. It's not like you just get to go and say, hey, I want to be in that band. You have to pass an audition. Some of the best instrumentalists in the absolute world. Somebody said, well, they're better than the Nashville Symphony Orchestra. Nashville Symphony Orchestra is a part-time organization. These cats play every day. There was a saxophone player that did a piece that was written specifically for saxophone. If he's not the best saxophone player in the world, I want to see who is. Navy Band. It's yakety sax if you've ever heard one. Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and we've had a great show today, but it's just going to get better because I'm a writer. Y'all know I'm a writer. You are punished by having to listen to my stuff from time to time, but that's okay because I'm going to keep throwing it at you whether you like it or not. But I'm involved with a couple of writing groups, and one of them is Left to Right, which I think is a pretty cool name, and the ramrod and manager of that is with me today, and that's Nels. And I'm going to let you pronounce your last name because I mess it up every time I do it. Wakanoska Moska.
Washaleski.
Washaleski. Could you have said that? Not me. And then Gene Hill is with us, and then Dot Watson is with us here, and Dot is representing the Bookshelf.
And the Literacy Council.
And the Literacy Council. And what has happened, you listen to my Lokus, and this lovely lady right here is the reason I write Loku. I was in a meeting with her one night, and she started reading haiku, and I had no clue what haiku had to do with anything. Well, she taught me. And she gave me the parameters of this being a Japanese form of literature. And she is being published. She has her own. She's had some haiku published. You've had a lot of
poetry
published, devotionals published.
Stories.
But now you have your own book of haiku.
Yes.
That's been published.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Give us your history here. Give us a little history on how Nels got to this.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know how I started writing. I've been writing all my life.
Since a little girl?
Oh yeah. My mother always said that I could rhyme before I could read or write. and when I was a very young child, I would go visit with my aunt and uncle, and my uncle would build me a temporary stage so I could perform on summer evenings. Some of the neighbors would come and some relatives would come, and I realized that most plays are written before the performance, but I performed and wrote at the same time. So I made it up as I went.
Of course.
And that's kind of how I got started.
Yeah.
And then I wrote simple poems and things like that. And I was the class poet in my senior year of high school. And I don't know really how I got to this point. It's kind of like when I retired at a very young age, my boss asked me, what are you going to do with all this free time? And I said, I don't know, maybe I'll pursue my writing and see if I can get something published. That was just a comment I made. It had nothing to do with reality, because I never thought it would happen. So anyway,
it became reality.
That's right. And just listen, it had to be a God thing, because the way it happened was just so smooth and easy. I had a friend who was an editor who has some 40 books in publication and probably 2,000 poems. But anyway, she's an editor, and I friended her on Facebook, and she said to me, she said, I want you to join this Christian Poets and Writers group that I'm starting online. And I said, oh, no, I can't do that because I've never had anything published and I wouldn't know how to go about it. And she said, oh, that doesn't matter. She said, a lot of the people won't have anything published. She said, anyway, send me some of your work and let me look at it. She said, because I know that you're a natural. I know that from school. So I sent her some of my work, and I put this big brown envelope in the mailbox, and when I closed the mailbox, I went, goodbye, dream, and I mailed it to her. Well, I tried not to think about the big brown envelope, and when it came, 3 or 4 weeks later, I put it on my dining room table, and I looked at it, and I thought, I am not opening that. And it sat there for a while, and one day I was cleaning and I got tired and I thought I want a cup of coffee and some lunch, so I fixed it. I sat down and there's the brown envelope staring me right in the face, and I thought, oh, get it over with. So I opened it, and lo and behold, I had this glowing review. And I was really surprised. And you know, I had just put in some haiku, the first I had ever written, and I put it in there and I said, this is for fun, you're not charging me for it because I'm not paying, just read it. And that is what she thought was one of my strong points. And she, you know, and that was one of the things. So anyway, she suggested some things I could do to make my poetry better. And I followed those suggestions. And when I was finished with them, I thought, well, what do I do now? So I called up Mary and I said, what do I do now? And she said, I don't know. She said, send them to some publishers. And I said, am I ready? She said, yeah. What can they say? No. And I said, oh, well, okay. And the very first poem I sent in was published in Barefoot Review.
Good for you.
And it was, yeah. So that's how that's a long story. That's how I got there.
And, you know, I visit with these lovely ladies. We meet every other week at the First Methodist Church, the left to right. And not all of us are always there. There's a group of about 10 or so that, you know, sometimes there might be 12 or 15, but not everybody. Life gets in the way.
And we all have different styles, different voices.
Very much so. And Jean is a brilliant writer.
Oh, yes.
Well, I think so, and I enjoy
I think
everything.
So too.
And she's a brilliant storyteller. Her delivery
Thank you.
is outstanding. It's like you're living the moment through her eyes and through her voice, and that makes that a joy. So we're all together and we're all promoting each other, and then all of a sudden you have this book and Hometown Gal, and that's where Dot Watson comes in. and we're going to have Dot and her group have put together, along with the poetry group, have put together a date and a time for a book signing.
Right. The book signing, it will be at the Bookshelf, which is in Northgate Mall, and it's on Saturday, April the 6th, and we hope everyone will come out and visit Nell's then, and it will be from 11 to 1. And we're really looking forward to seeing everyone come out. And she'll be reading some of her poetry and explaining to those who maybe don't know what haiku is, what it is. Right. And at the bookstore, which is sponsored by the Literacy Council, we're very happy to promote local authors. Yeah. And we're always excited when they share their works with us, and that then can be shared with the community as well.
Okay, Nels, I want to go ahead.
The beauty of haiku, which I think hasn't been brought up yet, is that haiku is a very short form of poetry. It's Japanese. It's only 3 lines. It has a very specific number of syllables, and that's 5 in the first line, 7 in the second line, 5 in the third line. And the beauty of it is, you know, some poems just ramble on and on and on. But haiku is very short, very concise. You're getting a huge thought to the reader in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get bored hearing haiku.
Okay. So what we're going to, before we run out of time, I
Yep.
know you want to read a couple of pieces.
Yes. Please
okay?
do, Nellie.
So we're about out of time. So would you read a couple of pieces for us?
I want to start with reading a tanka, and then I'll read the haiku. Would that be okay? Tanka is also another Japanese form of poetry, and I have a bonus chapter in my book on tanka, so I will read one of those. Having lunch with you, weak tea, strong conversation, a teacup shatters, you left and never looked back. Who will pick up the pieces?
That's a big thought in a short space, folks. Now give us a haiku.
I'll give you a haiku. Stars wallpaper the sky. Silver moon turns on the lights. Dense clouds flip the switch.
I love it. I love it. These gals are great. Dot, thank you very much for being involved with this group and doing what they're doing. And you're telling me to just, we're going to stay right here and close the show right now, so that gives us a little more time. And no title.
No title.
No title, really. They're just abstract thoughts that turn into a vision, and you can most of the time read the bottom line first. You can read it upside down, and it still makes as much sense.
You can.
If they're really good.
If they're really good, that's an open-ended haiku.
Right.
And if it's open-ended, you can do that.
Yeah,
Yes, but some of them are more closed-ended, I suppose. Yeah. But would you like to hear one more?
One more. We got 32 seconds till we're out of here.
Uninhibited, broken song on a careless breeze. Child plays the piano.
I love it. I love it. Date again?
April 6th, 11 to 1.
11 to 1, out in the mall at the bookshelf. Books will be there. Books will be for sale. And autographed. Guarantee you that it'll be good. Folks, thank you for being with us today. It's a pleasure to be in front of you and share history and share current events in our local area. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, John.